The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
TV party tonight! What? TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my circuits!
Everybody loves Hypno Toad.
Scary dog!
Pearson and Blurnsball.
Futurama!
Hello there, and welcome to TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, Alexis Hejna. As usual, coming to you from beyond the void because my camera still hates my guts. And as always with me is Mark Radulich. Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm sad that you're not on camera yet. Not today. Today I can deal with it. But if you're not on camera Monday, I'm going to be ever so depressed, and I'll tell you why. You only watch the shows you're on. You don't care about the rest of this network or what we do when you're not around. Talking about talking about you behind your back.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, my ego is fragile enough. Okay, I don't need to listen about how you guys complain and how you keep wanting to lock me in the damn basement.
And you keep getting out. I don't know. I have all of you locked away in different rooms, and you all keep getting out and make silly comments. But listen,
see, I keep every time you bring that up, it reminds me of an episode of American Dad where Stan throws Haley down the basement. She comes out, she's holding a battle axe, and he's like, "How did you get past mine?" She goes, "They're all dead, Dad. Even my younglings. I made you a wallet out of their hides."
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was Family Guy where the line is, "Who let you back in the house?"
Yes. Yeah. I know that episode.
But so I rapped Robert Winfrey. Now you know this from having been on Damn You Hollywood that I will occasionally rap him in, or I will sing some sort of song to him, and his name will be in there. That's his whole introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did the entire first verse from Straight Outta Compton on this last episode for Knock at the Cabin. That's what you missed by not doing the Knock at the Cabin review.
I can only handle so much M. Night Shyamalan.
I
Besides,
hear you.
my free time right now is still being monopolized trying to watch all the movies for the Oscars discussion next week. Plug.
I wrapped mine up with the Banshees of Ed Sheeran yesterday. Anyway, so speaking of that, so later on in the show, we were talking about somebody, I think during the Rotten Tomatoes thing, we're talking about somebody said it's the end of the world as we know it and I feel fine, referring to Knock at the Cabin. So I started singing the REM song. And Robert goes, "I challenge you to do a verse from that without coughing." And what he doesn't know is that most of my bronchitis is cleared up by now. So I can breathe pretty easily and I can sing songs and I can speak fast without coughing. So I did it. All of that to say, somehow we got to talking about We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel. And
Great
the challenge now, yes, is to insert everyone's name from Radulich and Broadcasting into We Didn't Start the Fire and open up the next Damn You Hollywood with it, which leads me back to I needed to see your face as disgust overwhelmed you and frustration and your willingness and your desire really to throw large office supply objects at me like staplers and such as I proceed to do the entire We Didn't Start the Fire with Radulich and Broadcasting members.
I like to think that you can feel my disgust through the void like a psychic vibration. You know, like that scene. I'm sorry. I just picture you sitting down as Obi-Wan going, "I felt a great disturbance from Kansas City."
Yeah, no, I absolutely can feel your hatred. I need to see it. It's what pleases me. All right, get on with this review already.
You feed on my anger. It makes you stronger.
One of the many things I feed on.
Okay, so yes, we are here discussing the second season of Resident Alien. Now, this is the second half of the second season. They released the first 8 episodes back in, what was it? I want to make sure I got the dates
Almost
right.
a year ago.
Yeah, March 2000. early January to March 2022, and the second half got released late last year, and we were like beyond busy, so we didn't get a chance to get around to it till then.
I'm social. Are you social? I know you're social, but how social are you? Are you more social than me?
I don't go to as many concerts as you do.
Okay. No one does, but the only
No,
people going
that's the truth. It's like I do, I look at your page and yeah, it looks like you have so much fun going to all the concerts.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so yes, we just got around to finally watching this, and it's first of all, it's Alan Tudyk. How are you going to hate it? Alan Tudyk always delivers 100%. He is so much fun. Now, we have talked about the first season, and we talked about the first half of the second season. You can go find them on our archives, and we have always had nothing but great things to say about this show. It's a lot of fun. So this one picks up. Let me get back to it. See, this is unfortunately the problem when I'm trying to get this taken care of on IMDb, is that they don't put it out with, or the episodes are not highlighted with, okay, now here's the second half, the second season. So you actually have to either check the dates or count.
If I remember correctly,
that you're getting the right ones.
It was the alien birthday party or something. It was because I remember we talked a lot about the mayor and his wife having sex in the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
and it, and that led to a greater discussion, which is on my TikTok. That's the part I cut out. But as far as what was happening in the plot, it was tied in with the original Dr. Harry's murder, and I guess the mob or whoever was involved with him came looking for Harry, and they found the alien inhabiting his body. But they went to go shoot him, and Asta ended up shooting that guy. I think Darcy was somehow involved in that, and then there was the actual alien baby, which they were trying to keep under wraps. It got out of the house. Harry was trying to get it back, got accosted by, I'm going to go with the mob until you correct me. They shot the mob, all of it, the entire mob, every last one of them. And then the baby escaped again. So where we left off is the baby is still on the run, and they've got a dead body they've got to hide. That's about where we are.
Exactly. So this second half of the second season kind of forgets pretty quickly about Harry Vanderspiegel's ties to, again, we're just going to call it the mob.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot more stuff to deal with. Harry had gotten for the record, we're going to call the alien Harry from now on, just because.
No, we're going to call it Bridget.
That's the name of the baby.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you meant the alien baby. Yes, the alien baby's name is Bridget, which is hilarious.
Yeah. So Harry has gotten a message from Goliath, this other alien that had fossilized and produced the baby. This alien species has a very strange biology.
Well, my understanding is that Goliath, the big reveal midway through the midway of the half of the season that we watched was.
I feel like we need a whiteboard and thread to explain this.
Have you ever seen the Red Letter Media explanation for Terminator Genesis, where they brought the whiteboard and the timeline, and by the end of it they can't make sense of anything?
I just know you can't make sense of anything because that movie was terrible.
So no, you have not seen it?
No.
Okay. After we're done here, I'm sending you homework. You have to you have to see Scientist Man explains the Terminator timeline. It's hilarious.
Yeah, and in the end, you just knock over the whiteboard. It's like, here, let me explain it. It sucks.
That's kind of what happens. But Goliath is Harry from the future sent back to deliver him a message. Hey, we tried to stop the alien invasion. It didn't work. And that's connected to the Linda Hamilton character who, because he killed her, she's not there to stop the invasion. And apparently she was she may have been a vital part of stopping it. We'll never know because she's dead, which then leads later on. And I'm skipping ahead, but at one point, the alien tracker shows up in town. Him and Harry decide they are better enemies, that they are better friends than enemies. And they go to the base to rescue the alien tracker's son, but also to get the alien baby. And it is after the alien baby finishes the message to him from Goliath that he runs afoul of Linda Hamilton, who, by the way, looks ancient. Like I don't recall Linda Hamilton looking that old in Terminator Dark Feminism, but here, like, did they not do? Did the makeup person just fucking go leave? Are they protesting? Is there a strike going on in Hollywood I wasn't aware of? Christ Almighty,
Seriously.
she looked old.
Yeah,
Like,
no kidding.
like she looked at the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting that they want her to look a little on the weathered side because she's a freaking military general. She's
Mhm.
clearly seen some shit. You
Yeah.
know, she's been around the block. She doesn't have perfect skin, but yeah, her face just it looks like your grandfather's 20-year-old leather couch.
I was gonna say, did she walk off set from The Mummy that they were shooting next door and just like, fuck it, I'll leave on the makeup I've already got on, and they're like, whatever, man, we're only paying you for the one day. So,
For the
so, yeah.
record, we are not dissing Linda Hamilton's acting. She was hilarious in this. She was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Linda Hamilton's great in this. This is a great role for her, and I don't remember her looking this badly in the previous season or so. It's just
I think it's also because she had her glasses on, and or she always was wearing these big sunglasses previously. I think it was supposed to make her look a little more intimidating. But yeah, this one we see her more just very.
There's some up close shots. And again, maybe they were going out of their way to make it like, why would she have makeup on? She's in the field doing military stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's all fine. She just looked terrible. In any case, but the point of it is that Harry nearly kills her, nearly strangles her to death, and then you see him stop, and then it's later revealed why he stopped, because, oh, wait a minute, I'm dooming humanity by this very act of vengeance, so I will stop. And that's about hither and thither. That's about what this season is about. There's an alien race. They're trying to figure out who the alien race is. He needs the baby to get the full message, to understand what the threat is, and then what are they going to do about it? That's the whole season.
There's a little bit more with Harry also coming to grips with his mortality. He is almost killed by that mob guy, and we have a handful of episodes where Harry basically has to go through his species doesn't really fear death. It's a natural cycle for them, and it's one of the big things with this show is that the more time Harry spends among humans, the more human-like he becomes.
There's a very specific thing about that where I guess like the alien race that this actually bugs me. I got to get your opinion on this, and then I'll finish my thought. There are a zillion alien races in the known universe, but he talks as if all zillion alien races are pretty much the same. It's humanity that is this large outlier. That can't statistically possibly be true. And for me, it's a flaw in the writing.
I don't really see it as a flaw, more as a prejudice and a stereotype. I think of it more like you hear somebody, like a racist, talk about how they're superior and all others are on the lower end. I think it's more of him just trying to throw his blame and disgust at all of humanity. There probably is other alien races that are very similar to how humans value companionship, children, death, children's death, all of those things. But I always get the opinion that Harry just wants to throw so much blame at humanity for what it's doing to him.
I mean, maybe. There's always the joke about, Earth is the Alabama of the universe, that sort of thing. And there may be that, like, we city folk look down upon, Southern rebel flag bearing conservatives. So I kind of, and if that's like the motif they're going for, I get it. But again, it's like I think what pains me about it, what's kind of sticking in my craw, is we don't know the name of Harry's alien race. And so if he said Klingons don't bond, and this is the point that I was getting to, Klingons don't bond with their children, that's a particularly human thing. It wouldn't have bothered me. But he says aliens. That's like saying humans, well, what you really mean is Italians.
Well, that's also partially because, and we have a joke about that in this part of the season, is that his species, he says that the way to there is no conceivable way to pronounce through human tongue what the name of his species is. We have a great scene where he's confronting the gray.
Isn't it like a series of sounds?
Yeah, there's a great scene where he's confronting the leader of the Greys, and I'm going to get back to that character in a second.
Yeah.
And he's like, "We are the Greys. You are the." Just some kind of weird thing. And Harry looks and goes, "It's so weird to hear it with your accent."
It's so funny because it was like a Monty Python thing, and you could tell like some of the writers were. You know, we've been talking a lot in our group chat about the state of entertainment writing, whether it be movies or in television, and you know, some groups don't have the chops for it. And you know, but others clearly do, and you can tell the writers of Resident Alien big time influenced by like Monty Python and shit like that, like classic 80s comedy, Mel Brooks style, because the and I say that only because like that's almost a direct rip from The Nights Who Say Knee. We are no longer the Nights Who Say Knee. We hear the Nights Who Say Eki, Eki, Eki.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's no way the writers didn't see that and think that, you know?
Exactly. And yeah, we are interested. So Harry's convinced at first that it's something called the Alpha Draconians. And I'm not going to lie, that name sounds so badass. And I thought, ooh, we're going to see like something really cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking like those, like the lizard men that Spock or that Kirk fights in that classic episode of Star Trek.
I definitely had a Star Trek thing, but if you haven't seen it, you wouldn't have known. But like, I very much got a like Dominion feeling, like, oh my God, it's going to be like the end of Deep Space Nine when the Dominion attack. And you know, not so much.
Yeah, and then no, it's the Greys. If you have ever seen a picture of an alien, you know what the Greys are. They are the classic little gray men with the big heads and the big eyes.
And George Takei's voice.
Okay, this was literally me watching the episode where it comes. The leader of the Grey approaches Harry and starts talking, and I say, "Wait, is that George Takei?" And then they actually have a discussion about. Oh my. To which I sat back on my couch and said, well, ask a stupid question.
George Takei has become kind of like a meme celebrity where I don't think I talk a lot about how people just older than my kids, so people in their 20s, they don't have a tremendous connection to Star Trek because in the past 20 years, Star Trek's cultural connection has diminished considerably. So like people my age, you know, are fond of Star Trek and older, but Star Trek had a hard time like maintaining its cultural connection to people. So a lot of young people don't watch it, which means nobody know who the fuck George Takei is. They know he's the oh my guy from Twitter.
They know he's the oh my guy. They know that he is. I'm not going to get into a big political discussion here, but we do know that George Takei is a massive activist and leader for gay rights.
Right.
And for the liberal rights, and I do follow him on Twitter, and he's hilarious and he's funny.
So
and he does offer a lot of really great insight.
I will tell you this:
wonderful man.
I think he has struggled getting out of the Sulu pigeonhole. I think, you know, casting agents and whatnot. Kind of first, he's Asian. Second, he's Star Trek, and so I think I don't think he has had a tremendously successful career. Getting out of Star Trek. Obviously, he's gotten gigs. He's probably gotten a lot of like off-screen stuff, probably like Broadway and whatnot, because he's a very talented actor. I'm not looking.
Oh yeah, he made his Broadway debut actually last year. Supposedly, he did wonderful on it.
Right. So I think he gets work, and I think he is successful, but not in a way that's visible to a lot of people. But I mentioned it because this is a demonstration of his very clear voice talent. Very distinct. You know, it's George Takei. But also, like, his voice lended gravitas to that character, which is funny because the language in the show is also very crass. So on the one hand, it's like, oh wow, the Grey sounds so cool with his voice coming out of them, and he just said "fuck you," you know, or something like that. You know,
yeah, it's like I said, "Oh my," because I'm freezing my Grey dick off out here. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the writing in the show is hilarious. Some of the lines are just drop dead funny, but I'm just gonna say it. Whoever thinks the word poop is funny, please stop. Because
what are you talking about? Poop is funny.
Poop is funny, but it's overused. Every episode has a line about poop. It's like
I figure, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, fair enough. So, yes, we got a lot of stuff on this season about Harry trying to figure out the other alien race. I do like the idea that, at first he completely dismisses that it's the Greys. He's like, because what does he say? Like, no, the Greys aren't interested in humanity except for, it's not the exact line, but he basically says all they do is the rectal probing and they're done. That's all they care about with humans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that part didn't make me.
Well, what we find out is that, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you will. I don't remember if they gave a reason, but they're coming to Earth and they're doing what every good alien race does. They're coming to claim the Earth from Mars, and then, but more in reality, what they're doing is, I think, like colonizing the planet in some way. What is it that Zod wanted to do in Man of Steel, Sword? They wanted to change the planet.
Yeah, basically wanted to terraform.
Terraform, that's what I was looking for. They want to. Yeah. I don't think they are. Let me correct myself. I don't think they are actually terraforming it. But what is said is they can't live on the planet for too long, and they were like, "No, we can. But if we start creating hybrids of Greys and humans, then we can the species will continue. It'll essentially they're gonna it's like forced evolution. They're gonna combine themselves with other humans. The race will continue to propagate, but they'll be able to live on planet Earth, no harm, no foul. And so what they're finding out is that they're stealing babies from the planet.
Yeah, I think that's right, because we have a new character. If I remember correctly, his name is Joseph, who we find out we see him as a guard working for Linda Hamilton's character. We find out a little later on he is in fact a human Grey hybrid.
Right.
And we also know that he's going to be coming back because he applies to work as a deputy in Patience. So Harry's going to be seeing a lot more of him. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm kind of looking forward to this idea that now there's these two alien rivals in Patience, especially since we can tell that Joseph is so much better at hiding his alienness than Harry is.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of, and I'm not quite placing where I got this, but it was like it might have been a joke about E.T. or it might have been something else, but it was like this particular alien race sent you their moron. Like I said, it might have been a joke about E.T. It might have been Jar Jar Binks, or I'm just two distinctly different memories, but it's this idea of like, yeah, you might be superior to humans, but compared to your own alien race, you're the idiot. That sort of thing. That's kind of how I feel like Harry is at times, where like every other alien that he encounters is far more superior and intelligent and able to move about in the quiet. And then there's Harry tripping over his own dick half the time, and it's like, it's one of those things where I like the show. I'm entertained by the show. But you and I were talking before, and I don't know if you want to get into this now, but you and I were talking before we hit the record button about how some shows you watch, and good, bad, or indifferent, they engender conversation. Either they've annoyed somebody in the culture, and that's what we're going to talk about, or there's greater thematic quality to the show, and that's the kind of thing I like to focus on. A show that I'm just entertained by, but doesn't really lend itself to conversation like this one does, especially this second half of this season, is fine. And I like to watch it. And I think casually I wouldn't mind talking about it, but dedicating an hour of my life to try to dig into the show to find something to talk about, it doesn't really appeal to me. And this show, like, when I'm passively watching it, I don't focus on some of the craft elements. But when I have to think about what it is I'm going to talk about, there are things about the show that annoy me. And Harry's inner monologue is one of those things. It started out kind of funny. It was cute for a while. Now it's just like every time they go to his inner monologue or his narration, he just pisses me off. I actively hate listening to him talk now. It's funny when he's interacting with other characters, because he'll say something like, "I don't like you. You eat my pudding," in his Alan Tudyk way. Stop stealing my lunches. That it's always him and the nurse, the Asian nurse character. But
oh my god, that nurse became even the biggest asshole this season.
The show is getting to the point where the side characters are funnier than Alan Tudyk, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm not a fan of his inner monologue.
I don't mind just because there is some really great dialogue. I like there's a great line in one of the earlier episodes where he talks about how Asta's apparently forgotten how to make coffee, and he's like, this tastes like dirt soup, and he spits the coffee back out in the mug. I think it actually does work. And I really do love the ending monologues where it's very touching and it's kind of like a what I have learned today sort of thing. But I think the writing in the show really is good.
The end of the show, what I learned monologues, especially after he had to reveal himself to Darcy, that got to me. On average, I could take him or leave him.
I still love the line he gives to the 8 government agents when they burst down. It's like, the door was unlocked. I'll send you the bill.
But that's what I mean. Like, he has great quippy one-liners in the exterior dialogue. It's the interior stuff that I find kind of drones on.
That line always reminds me. I can't remember if it was like CSI, SVU. It was one of those where the police come and they knock on the door and the guy says, come in. And there's this older guy sitting in a chair and he's clearly not fazed by the cops bursting in. And he looks in and he goes, thanks for knocking. Door replacement's a bitch.
It's funny. There's a line in The Wire, I believe, season 1, where they finally come to arrest Avon Barksdale. And Stringer's like, do you want to just open the safe? He was just like, yeah, open it. Like, I don't want him to break it. Safes are expensive. Like, no, there's like no sense wasting a good safe. So it's great.
Now, we should add that all the other characters on the show also get some really good time. The show is very good at developing not just Harry, but a lot of the other characters as well.
Yeah, Darcy especially.
Darcy definitely gets the most. She has started a relationship with this research guy, and she decides that she wants to get back out there and try to ski again. She is a former Olympian who had to lose her chance because of an injury. And unfortunately, this means that her leg is now going through extra problems. So she gets hooked on pain pills. And yeah, it really starts screwing with her. It costs her her relationship. And we see a lot of growth through that as Asta is there for her. We find out they're going to move in together in the next season. And yeah, Darcy is the one. Darcy finds out about Sam Hodges's murder and how it's connected to Harry. And Asta and Harry are left with no other choice. They have to reveal to Darcy the truth that he's an alien. Otherwise, she's going to freak out and think that Harry's a murderer.
Right.
And it's touching and also hilarious because Harry changes. She looks a little freaked out, but she's relieved.
Right. Oh my God. Her line about that, like, oh, no wonder you couldn't tell me. Yeah, this is fine. And Harry's like, I'm an alien. You're supposed to. And she's like, yeah, I don't care about that. What?
Yeah, he's like, I am an alien not wearing pants. How are you not screaming?
Because she says to Asta, and this is what made me cry a little bit, and was like, that's really touching. That's a beautiful thing. If I have to like come up with any kind of theme here, it is the meaning of friendship. Asta and Harry have their issues at the beginning because Harry has to keep Asta in the dark about certain things, and Asta is always trusting Harry and then finding out how much she can't trust him. And in turn, Harry doesn't want to hurt Asta, but he's doing that thing that gets done in a lot of modern fiction. I have to protect you from the bad thing, so I lie about it. And what everybody writes for every character is, I would have preferred to face the danger knowingly than to have my partner lie to me. And that's kind of, what happens with Asta and Harry have a strained relationship this half of the season because she's discovering more and more that Harry is never honest with her. And she's like, this doesn't feel like a real friendship. And so he has to do some repair work with her. But more than that, you find out over the course of the season just how connected to Asta Darcy is. And when Darcy feels like Asta is having this whole other secret life with Harry for no good reason, Darcy feels like her friend is abandoning her. And when she finds out that she isn't, that there was a perfectly reasonable explanation for why she was being kept in the dark about this, Darcy was like, oh, this all tracks. Thank God I still have my friend. It's funny, we're going to talk about the Banshees of Inisherin on Monday, which also, deals with the falling out of a friendship and how any relationship, you don't have to apply such specific terms to it, whether it's, podcasting, friends, married partners, poly partners, whatever, the bond between parents and children, the bond between siblings. When any of these things that are strong and good in your life are strained or break, there's a mourning process that you go through. There's that sense of loss. And when Darcy thinks she's lost Asta, it hurts her. And then to find out that no, yes, we were lying to you, but you're not being left out of anything. This was just we were trying to protect you. She's like, great, I still have my friend. Thank God I haven't lost that relationship. And by the way, I would rather face the unknown danger with you than without you. And I was like, wow, that touches me. That touches my heart. I don't react viscerally much to this show because it's a goofy comedy show. But that one got me in the feels.
The season really is about the bonds, and it's not just between Asta and Darcy and friends. We also see a lot more development with Asta with her biological daughter Jay.
Yeah.
We had the episode where Asta meets her mother. This was painful. Asta finally finds her biological mother who gave her up, and this woman is just, I think we officially have most hated character on a TV show who appeared for less than one episode. This woman is just terrible. You get the line. She's like, Asta is trying to find some connection or some reason why she gave her up, and she's just like, no, I just gave you. She's like, no, I just gave you up because I liked my life and I really didn't want to deal with a kid. I had a great life. Why would I want to ruin that?
Right.
And then you had the scene where Asta's trying to show her daughter Jay. It's like you're a grandmother now. And this woman not only doesn't care, she says something to the effect of, well, wait, you gave her up, so she's not your daughter. And I applauded the line that Harry gives when they leave. Asta is trying so hard not to cry. She is clearly destroyed by this revelation. And this woman's smoking throughout their entire conversation. And Harry can tell just how horrible Asta feels. And he looks at the mother and he says, I'm a doctor. You should smoke more. It's like, I applauded. I cheered. It's like, yes, that was great.
We mentioned it at like the top of the show about, Harry talking about like the emotional bonds that humans create, which is distinct from, I guess, the way aliens operate. But Harry, the more you said it before, the more Harry stays on Earth, the more human he becomes. And so he loves Asta. And again, you don't loving somebody does not necessarily have to be romantic. You can still, we love our children, we love our pets, we love lots of things.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. I am so glad this show does not do the trope of Harry and Asta falling into romantic love.
Yeah,
it would be too weird. And I'm not against romantic love on shows. I'm not an anti-shipper, but I think that we need to see more platonic love, especially between men and women on shows, because I feel that too many writers fall into the trap of, oh, well, it's a guy and a girl, so they should fall in love, right?
Like I said, if I've learned anything in this past year is that you can absolutely love people without having romantic or sexual a romantic or sexual connection to them. And Harry and Asta absolutely love each other as friends, but he cares for her more. I think at one point he wanted to take her off the planet because he was like, I don't give a shit about the rest of these people, but I care enough for you to save you. And then he bonds with the alien baby, Bridget, and he comes to the same conclusion where he was going to leave with Bridget because the planet was lost. The Greys are going to take over. And then he realized that, that humanity is worth saving, but Bridget doesn't need to be here for that. So Bridget went back to joined Poochie back on his home world. And
again, not gonna lie, I think that having the alien baby in the form of that boy who went missing 80 years ago probably would have been too weird, and I think it would have really skewed the themes of the show for Harry to suddenly have a son running around.
Yeah.
As interesting as it was, and also as interesting as it was for the development of Max and Sahar, I am glad that this kid was only around for a few episodes and he's gone.
Yeah.
It was a good addition, but he did not need to stick around.
No, he'd have been like 7 from fucking Married with Children. Like, there's no need for this character. Get rid of him.
Oh, I was gonna go with Cousin Oliver, but same principle.
Yep. The sheriff's deputy, the sheriff, still obnoxious, but not nearly as obnoxious as in previous seasons. At this point, I think the writers know that the writers already softened him up. They've already kind of mended the relationship between him and the deputy. But he's still, I think what they figured out is that they still find him hysterical. And that's one of those babies that sometimes you got to kill as a writer, but it's hard to. And I think the writers figured out, or they've gotten fan feedback, that we don't want the sheriff to abuse people, but can we continue to make him an obnoxious idiot because he's hilarious?
Exactly. And I love that they gave him now I'm glad they gave him a love interest. We have I think she's the sheriff in the neighboring
she's a detective
in Jessup. Those two actors have amazing chemistry. You have a scene where they're walking through the woods looking for the leads on the case, and they're just chit-chatting about their pasts. They're both former big city cops who ended up in small towns, and I'm listening to talk. I'm like, geez, I just want to hear these two talk. You know, they get, it's like these two.
It's one of the rare moments where the sheriff actually has some vulnerability.
Yeah, but whoever the casting director was on this nailed casting this detective, because she and the actor who played the sheriff play off of each other so well, and their dialogue flows so naturally. It really sounds enjoyable.
And I'm kind of glad. I think again, this writing crew, I have to give a lot of credit to, because again, it's not like they're writing Watchmen here, but they do seem to know when to not knock off the bullshit, and they don't go overboard. Like, it kind of reminds me of some of the comments I made about The Boys, where as over the top as that show gets, that's the nature of that show. But the writers use a tremendous amount of restraint. You know, one of the things we talk about on Damn You Hollywood is performance and direction. And a director, a talented director knows when to reel an actor in. With writing, you can clearly see this group of writers knows how to keep each other in check and reel stuff in and kill their babies, because that could have been so much worse. I've seen worse.
Speaking of kill your babies,
they air subtlety. There's an air of subtlety to the relationships the way they're written in this, and so it was a nice progression. And then when they didn't need it anymore, they got rid of it, and it was fine. I enjoyed their relationship, what little we got of it, and it was just the right amount.
Yeah, well, like I said, speaking of killing your babies, we got a lot of that this season in a very strange way. So yeah, the Greys are kidnapping. There's no way around it. They're kidnapping fetuses. Yep. They're abducting fetuses out of pregnant women.
The mayor's wife, as a matter of fact.
Huh?
The mayor's wife.
Yeah. At the end of the first half of the second season, oh God, what's her name? Kate? Yeah, Kate is pregnant. But a couple episodes in, she goes in to get a blood test, and she says it was a false positive. And at first, it's just like, well, okay, so they're not pregnant. All right. But at the end, we find out she was pregnant. The Greys took her fetus in the middle of the night before she really had a chance to know what had happened. And we get that very disturbing cliffhanger with not only the alien hunter's son, who he was reunited with right before Terry O'Quinn, by the way, was great in this season. I loved having him back. He is always enjoyable. And I do love that how well he and Harry worked together, how well they got along. There's a great little bit where they're trying to cook dinner together, and the hunter's just giving him a hard time because he's crying while chopping an onion.
Right.
And they work together to get into the base. So Harry can get his alien baby, and the hunter can find his son, who was abducted all those years ago. And yeah, And there's clearly someone in my backyard because the dogs are going nuts. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
So then at the end, the son who was, taken as a baby gets abducted by the Greys again, along with Ben. And the scene of them in those examination chairs, I don't know what the hell, holding them, those things in their mouths. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean,
what was the name of that movie about alien abduction? Fire in the Sky?
maybe. But I'll tell you what, like, again, credit to the writing staff to know what are common visuals in alien in alien fictional culture, and like that, like tubes in the mouth, or tentacles and stuff like that. I mean, as well as I do, without even getting into hentai imagery. If I could be not, overly, if I could not overly sexualize a podcast for once in my life. This is all stuff like we all that are exposed to it viscerally react to. I mean, when you think about the xenomorphs and aliens and like the mouth tongue that comes out of them, and like those xenomorphs were very specifically designed with what do humans hate about the visuals in alien culture. Let's put them all in this character.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or like the Predators with their like, fucking toothy vagina mouths, things like that. We think about like Cthulhu, which I know is not alien, but magic.
Hey, don't disrespect the elder gods.
things like that. I mean, like tentacles, big sharp teeth. There were just things that we commonly react to, and the show went out of its way to make sure we got little green men, only they're gray. We got tentacle monsters. We got all the things in this show that they can show you on a small budget for Syfy to evoke to get. Let's put it this way: there's only two kinds of people watching this show: fans of science fiction and Alan Tudyk fans. And people that are watching,
I am in both those categories.
Yes, you are right in the middle of that Venn diagram.
Mm-hmm.
But the people who are just watching it for the science fiction stuff and don't give a shit about Alan Tudyk, they want to see the stuff they're familiar with in science fiction lore. And there's a fair amount of it in this show. Not a lot, because it is, a made for TV, cable show. Not a huge budget here. We're not talking, fucking Marvel. But I think they go out of their way to be like, what do fans want to see? What if we put this on screen? What's going to get a good reaction? That's going to get a good reaction, and it did. You and I both reacted to it. Like I definitely had it when I saw the mayor with the tubes in his mouth and everything, and then the babies in the in the Matrix tubes. I got a like blah, kind of a reaction.
Yeah,
so it works.
Like, oh Lord.
Yeah.
Not to mention, they are really setting up for something big in the third season. The show has been renewed for a third season. We are going to see. We got Ben and what was the guy's name? Robert. Robert abducted by the aliens, along with Ben's, still in vitro baby. Mm-hmm. We have Liv, the deputy, who's we know has always been interested in aliens, and now that the alien hunter has gone, or the alien tracker's gone missing, she's getting just a little nervous, and it looks like she's actually managed to convince the sheriff that, yeah, there's something fishy going on here. And even he's like, maybe all this alien talk isn't, totally just BS. Even he's admitting it's like something weird is going on here. We have the scene with they think it's cops from a neighboring county, and he finds out it's like, no, they're not. There's something else. They're fakes. We got that. We had the whole thing with the Greys. Again, there is a lot building up, and I think in the next season we're gonna see. And we mentioned before, Joseph, the Grey hybrid, is now applying as a deputy, so we're gonna have two aliens running around patients who know each other and are essentially just like, they're both just like, you reveal me, I'll reveal you, something. It's like they know. Right. They're just like, it's like that scene in Inglourious Basterds where they're both holding the gun under the table. It's like,
right,
like one false move and we both pull the trigger.
Yep.
Next season is going to be big. I really think they're building up to something huge, and I'm looking forward to it. I really think this is going to be fun next year.
I'm definitely going to watch it. You and I can talk about whether or not we're going to talk about it, because we'll have to see how it goes. It's one of those where you and I were talking before the show. If there's something to talk about, if there's something to talk about, and you say, hey, can you spare an hour for a friend? The hour will be spared. If there's nothing to talk about, I just had fun watching it. You had fun watching it. We don't need to do a third season of this.
Yeah, and yeah, this is something we talked about before we started the show. So often with TV Party Tonight, we end up reviewing shows that we think are they're getting discussed. It's like, let's talk about She-Hulk because She-Hulk works. Let's talk about Dahmer because the victims' families are pissed. Let's talk about Pam and Tommy because Pamela Anderson is absolutely furious. This is a show that does it. There's no controversy.
Yeah,
there's no extenuating story.
Right. No one's
this.
on Twitter complaining about this show.
There's no articles in Entertainment Weekly about the aftermath, but it's fun. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Everyone is doing a great job with it. And yeah, if you're a fan of Syfy and if you're a fan of Alan Tudyk, I can't recommend it enough. This isn't going to be the show that you talk about with people over at the water cooler. But you know what? I think that we need more shows like this where it's just, let's just get cozy on the couch and watch a fun show.
Yeah, not everything has to be, Game of Thrones or Watchmen or, whatever the serious show of the moment is that's got people all hot and bothered. This is coming from the guy that often says, I don't want to spend an hour of my very valuable time that's running out by the minute talking about things that I don't need to talk about. Sometimes I just need to turn my brain off and I want to watch something, or I want to read something or I want to listen to something and I don't want to have to think about it. Not every show lends itself to an hour's worth of entertaining conversation. Sometimes a show is just to be watched because it brings you joy. Resident Alien brings me joy. It brings you joy. I'm happy to share that joy with you. But I don't know if I need to spend an hour on a podcast talking about it.
Like we said, if you got time, we highly recommend watching the show. Again, this isn't going to, it's not like The Last of Us where everyone's going to be talking about it the next day of, oh my God, did you see that? That's incredible, and freaking out. But it really is a very fun, pleasant show. And yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It's really great.
All right.
So why don't we go ahead and jump into plugs? Mark, you want to go first?
Yeah, really quickly. This past week we did a page. It's not a re-air, but if you actually check out our blog site w2mnet.com, we did a page for the Inhumans comic that we reviewed back when the Inhumans show was out. But more importantly, Black History Month is upon us, and so it is the year of our Lord 2023, and we're doing another Black History Month series of shows. It's myself and my other transracial brother from another mother, Jason Teasley. So we'll be doing 3 Black History Month triple features. We started off the first one with Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, and Juice. Alexis Hejna don't have the juice. I got the juice, as we all saw on Damn You Hollywood. Hey, you know what we're doing next year? What we decided we're going to kick off Black History Month with. You want to know? Do you want to know?
What?
We're gonna dedicate, because we celebrate women on the Radulich Broadcasting Network, as you know, being the token gal. We celebrate women here. We applaud them. We want to show them the love and attention that they deserve with their hard work. So we're doing a triple feature of Black History Month for What's Love Got to Do with It? I Want to Dance with Somebody, and Respect.
Because this is exactly what people who love those movies want to hear. Middle-aged white guys from Florida and the Appalachian Mountains talking about them.
Talking about black women who caught a beating. But also sang beautifully. I'm passively antagonistic. Anyway.
You're the old man of the mountains and you don't want them painted.
Last night, or 2 nights ago, Damn You Hollywood, was myself, again, Jason Teasley and Robert Winfrey. We did M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's Knock at the Cabin. The movies that don't suck and some that do guys put out a new show. They reviewed You People and Triangle of Sadness, which we will be talking about on Monday. Tonight, the history of boxing is back. We'll be talking Pernell Whitaker versus Julio Cesar Chavez. The Fight is what they called it. Saturday, it's Everyone Loves a Bad Guy Saturdays. We're looking at Evil Promoters. This is a show from back in 2013 that we're re-airing on W2M, and it's Metal Hammer of Doom Sundays. Again, all the shows from Blog Talk Radio that have not made air yet. This is during one of my hiatuses. I used to go on hiatuses. Alexis, Hejna. And when I was on this hiatus, Robert Cooper of the Hammer of Doom article that he used to write for 411 did an entire retrospective for the band Death, one of the forefathers of American death metal. So it was a very highly listened to show back in the day. I hope people will enjoy it now. And then next week, it's Ant-Man week all week long. We got a syndicated source material for Ant-Man, Second Chance Man. I believe that was where the origins of Hit It, Darren came from, which cracks me up to this day. Hit it, Darren. You'll have to listen to the episode to find out. In the evening, on a special Monday episode of Damn You Hollywood, we are looking at all the Best Picture nominees. It's myself, Alexis, and Robert. All 10 pictures. We're going to touch on them. The first ever Damn You Hollywood survey of movies. Valentine's Day, nothing's going on unless Alexis is recording something. And then on Wednesday, it's a re-air of the 2015 Damn You Hollywood for the Ant-Man movie with Paul Rudd. The next day is an Everyone Loves a Bad Guy for Ant-Man Villains. And then Evan Bevins, back from his year in exile, will be doing a comic strip with me for I Kill Giants. That's what we got going on for the rest of this week and next week. Your witness, sir.
All right. Yes, looking forward to that discussion on the Oscar nominations coming up on Monday. I still have like 5 other movies I gotta watch before.
Oh, which ones haven't you watched yet?
Okay, so I need to do Tar and Triangle of Sadness.
Okay.
Which I can get on Amazon. I need to do Marcel, the Show with the Shoes On.
Oh, that's right. You're also doing the animated features for us.
That was
double duty.
Yeah, that was our deal. You said that you would make sure that I didn't have to go give money to James Cameron to see Avatar 2, which I really didn't want to do, if I led a discussion about the best animated features, which is why the other movies I got to see are The Fabelmans, which is not you can buy it on Amazon now, but it's not available for rent.
Yeah, it's $20. $20 is what it'll cost you.
Yeah, I would much rather just give $10 to the theater, and I still need to see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I just saw The Sea Beast last night. Not the most original story I've ever seen, but it is a beautifully animated, very sweet film. I highly recommend it if you got Netflix. And I'm just going to say this now. If we keep hearing that they want to do another Pirates of the Caribbean movie without Captain Jack Sparrow, go get Carl Urban. He was... Well, he voices the lead, and I'm just listening. It's like, why has this man never played a pirate before? He was born to play a pirate.
Okay.
And yes, I make jewelry and paint houses. Sorry, had to stop you before you said it. Yes, Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic. We are in our off season right now. Next month, we are getting back into the convention circuit. We're doing Planet Comic-Con here in Kansas City. We're going to be doing a small 2-day event called the LPL Con in Lawrence, Kansas. This is the first year that they're hosting it. We're really looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I always love traveling to Lawrence. I love doing work in a nice little college town. So we're doing that. We're getting some more stuff on our stores at Etsy and Handmade at Amazon. And I'm just using this time right now, honestly, to make as much back stock as I can, trying to get as much stuff made. If you check out our Etsy shops, you'll see a ton of our newest stuff. I think I mentioned on our last show, we just unveiled a ton of products inspired by the Netflix show Wednesday. If you're a fan of that, go ahead and check that out. Again, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That is Honeysuckle Rose Creations, the intersection of geek and chic. All right, so for Mark and myself, thank you for listening. Be well, behave, be safe.